Hello everybody. Today we have distributive property, and you may recognize this worksheet from class. We have done this before. So we're going to simplify the following expressions using the order of operations, which is PEMDAS: parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, and addition and subtraction, moving left to right for both of those. So I want to show you this app. It's called Algebra Touch. And in this app, there are a bunch of different ways to do math, and I really like a couple of these. And for example, we're doing distribution. All right. So if you wanted to learn a little bit more about distribution, it will guide you through that process, which is really cool. Okay. And so if I wanted to practice, I can do a little bit more on this app to show me how to do distribution. All right, and it can take you through a couple of different ways to do this. Okay, right, and this is kind of like an example from our worksheet where I can take 16 and distribute to the terms inside, where I can press the star, move this dot right here, and it's going to take the outside number and distribute it to the inside, and then multiply it from expanded form into its simplest form. Really cool app. I suggest downloading it. It does cost a little bit of money, but I think it's worth it. Definitely will enhance your math skills. So, in number 1, we have 6 being multiplied in parentheses by 3 plus 9. So I'm going to do my parentheses first. I'm going to get an expanded form of 6 times 12, and 6 times 12 is 72. Alright, so once you're inside of the Algebra Touch application, alright, you can scroll all the way right, and you can actually create your own. And so you can do different new problem sets over here on the bottom right, or you can just do a quick problem and enter it in on the left bottom right here. So on the top of the page, it said to simplify the following expressions using the order of operations. So the first one was 6, and in parentheses we had 9 plus 3. So if I tap on the plus sign, it's going to simplify that to 12. And then if I tap the star, it's going to simplify that to 72. For number 2, I have 5 being multiplied by the value or sum of 9 plus 2. So 9 plus 2 is 11. Multiplied by 5 is 55. Now, for the next problem on number 2, we had 9 plus 2 in parentheses and then multiplied by 5. So I could tap on the plus sign and then tap on the multiply sign. So I had 55. For number 3, I have 2 being multiplied by the difference of 8 and 4. 8 take away 4 is 4. 2 times 4 is 8. So we have the distributive property allows us each term inside parentheses by the number outside of the parentheses. So we're going to be multiplying the terms outside, right, by the other term on the inside. So for example, in number 2 here, I would have 5 times 9, and then I would have 5 times 2. And on the same way, on number 3, I could have 5 times 8 2 times 8, and then I would do 2 times negative 4. Negative 4 is the term here. You can look at this as an integer. You can look at this as take away 4, minus 4, or negative 4. Negative 4 being a term. So algebraically, we could say that we could distribute A to B and A to C. So it would be A times B, A times B, and then it would be A times C. And then we have A times B and A times negative C. So when I had a negative or a minus sign inside my parentheses, I have a minus sign in expanded form here. So in the example that we're giving in the distributive property of the gray box, all right, it said algebraically on the second bullet, we would say A being distributed to B plus C in parentheses. Well, they wanted to show you what expanded form looks like. And if I was going to look at this from a distributive point of view versus PEMDAS, on the app, I can tap the multiplication sign first. So if I did tap the multiplication sign, it's going to give me how to do my distributive property. A being multiplied by B, in that green arc right there on the top, and A being multiplied by C. And then on the bottom of your screen, you're going to see a little dot. So I can take that dot and start moving it. And as you can see, the A will be multiplied by B, and A will be multiplied by C, giving you what it looks like right there. All right, but if you notice, these are different variables. If I tap my stars, I can't combine two different variables, and I can't combine. So when you're finished on Algebra Touch, it'll do this little wiggle here, all right, if you can't do it anymore, okay? And then on the other side of things, it said A being distributed to B and negative C being your term. So again, I can tap on my star, take my dot on the bottom of the screen, and it's going to take the variable A and distribute it to the two terms inside. So it says, be careful with your signs when multiplying positives and negatives. Just to reiterate what I was just saying. So, for number 4, it says, each of the 4 members of the Robinson family ordered a drink, represented by the variable D, 2 slices of pizza, represented by P, and an ice cream cone, represented by C. So, here is what it looks like as the distributive property. So because I have 2 slices of pizza, I can represent it with a coefficient, because I have 2 times how many 1 slice of pizza. So I can take 4 times one of the D's, 1 soda. So the Robinson family is going to need 4 drinks, 4 sodas. I'm going to take the members of the family 4 and multiply it by a positive 2p. So 4 times 2 is 8, represented by the variable p, pizzas. And then I'm going to take 4 times the 1 cone, and that means I need 4 ice cream cones. So when they go to I don't know, McDonald's or Dairy Queen or whatever is selling this kind of stuff, right? Each member is going to get 1 soda, each member is going to get 2 pizzas, and each member is going to get 1 cone. So I have 4 drinks, a total of 8 pizzas, and a total of 4 ice cream cones. So we can use these area models below to show the distribution. So right here I have 5 is being distributed to 3x plus 2. So in parentheses down here, I represented the 3x and the positive 2. And over here, on the long side, I have my 5. So I can take my 5 and multiply it by 3x, which is going to give me 15x. So I have 5 times 3x is 15. And then I can take my 5 and distribute it to the 2. So I have 5 times 2. 5 times 2 is a positive 10. So if you scroll down, right, for number 5, it said to use the area models below to show, to distribute, right? So we had 5 and then 3x plus 2. So I can take the 5, tap on the star, and start moving and distributing that 5 to each of the terms. So then I can multiply these terms together. So I have 5 times 3x, and if you look at your area model here, you're going to get 15x and then 5 times 2, which is 10. And of course, I'm done simplifying at that point. So I'm tapping on the plus sign and it's telling me that I'm done. And then over here, I have 7 being distributed to x minus 9, or x and negative 9, negative 9 being my term. So, and x also is a term. It's a variable, but it's also called a term. So, on the long side here, I have the number I am distributing, and on the bottom right here, I have my variable x and my negative term, negative 9. So we had 7 times x, which is 7x, and then I had 7 times negative 9, which is negative 63. So my simplified form of this distributed version would be 7x minus 63. Other problem in number 5 was 7 being distributed to the x and the negative 9. So I'm going to tap my multiplication sign, move my little bar here, and then if I tap my multiplication signs and combine the terms, I'm going to get 7x take away 63. So it would be like 7x minus 63. So you're going to kind of ignore that plus sign on Algebra Touch. Okay? So on the other side of your page, you're going to use the distributive property to simplify the expressions below. So I have 2 being distributed to x plus 6. Now expanded form is just the one step before the simplified form after we distribute. So when I say that, I can say 2 times x, which is 2 times x. Because it's a positive, it's going to say 2 times 6. So expanded form is just the version before the simplest one. So 2 times x is 2x, 2 times 6 is 12. Alright? So expanded form looks a lot like this. It's basically your multiplication steps before you simplify. Okay, so if you're thinking in your head 2 times x, you need to write 2 times x in your expanded form. And then 2 times 6, you need to write that in expanded form. So for number 7 example, and the expanded form would be 7 times 5, and then 7 times p. So let's say you didn't know how to do number 7. I can create a new problem or do quick problem. And for number 7, I had 7 in parentheses 5 plus p. In this case, I don't have a p on the screen, so I'm going to use x as the example. Okay? Okay, so for number 7, if you didn't know what expanded form looks like, you would simply start to distribute, and then it would show your expanded form. So your expanded form would be 7 times 5 plus 7 times x for your expanded form, and if you wanted to simplify it, you could tap your stars, and it would be 35 plus 7x, and this would be your simplest form. And then you guys are going to be filling in 7 on Cami, right? 8 and 9. So when we move down the page here, it says distribute the coefficient in each expression below. So my coefficient here is 3x. So I'm going to take 5 and multiply it by 3x. 5 times 3x. And then 5 times positive 10. So it's 5 times 10. And simplified form is 15x, which is 3 times 5 times 3x. It's 15x. And then 5 times positive 10, which is 50. So I have 15x plus 50. So again, I'm going to take that 5 on the outside, multiply it by each of the terms on the inside. So it's going to be 5 times 3x, and then 5 times 10. Here's my expanded form. And then I have the simplest form. And over here on number 12, we have 12 times 6, 12 times 6, and 12 times negative 2x. So I have minus, right? Be careful with your signs. 12 times 2x. So 12 times 6 is 72, and 12 times 2x is 24x. And make sure that it's negative because there's a negative sign in the parentheses. For number 12, I had 12 being distributed to 2 and negative 2x, as you can see here. So again, I tap my star. That 12 is going to be multiplied by 6, and then multiplied by negative 2x. I can have it in expanded form right here, and start tapping my stars. And it's going to give me the simplest form, which is actually 72 minus 24x. And number 14 I did for you as well. I had 4 times x, which is 4x, and 4 times negative y, which is negative 4y. So you can look at these as separate terms. We have positive 4x and a negative 4y. These are separate terms because they are different variables. I can't combine those because they are different variables. These have the same coefficient, but we have different variables being multiplied by 4. Finally, for number 14, all right, we don't have it on here right now, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create it by tapping new problem, and it was 4 being multiplied by x take away y, and then close parentheses. And of course you can see that in the little bar between cancel and done, it does say what it looks like on your paper, but on Algebra Touch it does look a little different. So I'm taking that 4, I'm multiplying it to the x and the y, and there's only one x and one negative y, so it's like saying 4 times 1x and 4 times negative 1y. Take the bar, move it across. I'm going to get the expanded form and then multiply them together. And you're done. There's your simplest form. It would be 4x take away 4y. Okay? That is going to be it for today. Everybody have a great day and stay safe.